Okay, so there's one word which I learned today evening, and I would say it's not skills. The word is courage, right? Because we kept on talking about courage a lot in all the discussion, and that's interesting because you need courage to do anything, right? Whether to create a skill-first organization, whether to drive any change, courage is very important. When we started doing assessment from internal employees, we asked them, why are you doing to assessment for internal employees? And companies say, we want to do skills benchmarking. And we said, okay, if you want to do skills benchmarking, the HR team, the L&D team, why are you going to use this data? They said, we want to use this data to find out the skills gap and then do recommendation on few things and all. And we did the skill gap. And now the interesting thing happened. We did a skill gap on X. But by the time that skill went to the HRMS or the LMS or the LXP, the skill definitions were not proper. We were calling X, somebody was calling it X++, somebody was calling it X minus, somebody was calling it a Y. There is no common taxonomy or ontology which exists in the organizations because they are disconnected systems, right? So that's how we started with the journey of skills intelligence, having the taxonomy, ontology in place, and moving towards the skills intelligence journey. So the skills can be transformed. Skills can be unlearned, skills can be relearned, you can upskill yourself. Definitely you need to have courage to do this. And that movie is all about courage. Skills first transformation or the skills intelligence, what we realize is when we are working with customers on talent acquisition and talent management, there's a lot of things happening. But like Sumit said at the last, right, it's all about workforce planning. I would always say it's build, buy, borrow and redeploy. And I realized I was wrong. It's redeploy, then build, then buy, and if everything doesn't work, you borrow. That's how you look at your life, right? I will first redeploy myself, and whatever it takes to redeploy myself as an entrepreneur, as a person, like a mid-30, mid-40 crisis, right? I will redeploy. To do that redeployment, I'll build myself. Once if I'm not able to do these things, right, that's the time maybe I will take a decision to do something completely maybe which is easy or change a job, get into easy role or something or buy part. And then if not, then the final thing can be a borrow. So I would say the talent life cycle of an organization should also run in a similar way. But to run in a similar way, you need to have a goal. You need to have an environment. And what I realized is that environment and the goal, after talking to a lot of talent leaders around the world, is align the right talent to the right roles with unified internal mobility and faster hiring. And why internal mobility? The reason for that is the workforce around the world is reducing. You may have played it on JNI or anything. We saw in COVID times the hiring numbers were skyrocketed across the industry. Now they're going down. So we are looking for a skill-first organization where the decision making is based on skills and it's fast. Fine. So this is the villain in the story, and that's what we thought. If this is the villain with the skill-first, what we started as skills benchmarking, creating the ontology, taxonomy, all these are bookkeeping things. This is not eventually hitting the business outcome. But if we solve this problem, then you hit the business outcome. And the hero is iMocha bridges the gap between the talent acquisition and internal growth, ensuring organizations are not just filling roles but building futures. Because if you are just filling a role for a position faster, you may hire from outside, but internally there will be high attrition. So customers come to us saying that we have this job architecture and we have the job descriptions and the job families and the job roles. We usually, our first approach is help them to transform the entire job family, job role and job architecture into a skill architecture. So we convert every job into a skill with the right proficiency. Humanly doing it is very difficult, but with the advent of Gen AI and a lot of AI models, it works like you can do it like within like a fraction of a second now. Right? And once those jobs are converted into right skills, and I would say converting job into skills is still easy, but it should not stop over there. It's also about converting a job into capabilities. Because what is a job description? It's about there's some job to be done, that the capabilities you demonstrate, and to demonstrate those capabilities you need some skills. right? So if I have 10 skills, with the skills 1 to 3, let's say I'm able to do a job A. With the skills 1, 2 and 5, I'm able to do a job B, and the skills like 4, 5 and 9, I'm able to do a job C, right? If these 3 things are done, then this job description has 3 jobs A, B, C, and to do these jobs, there are some skills required, right? So if this is a simple structure, if you are able to put this across the organization, convert every job into skills, I would say the skills first transformation starts with this as the first basic approach. Convert a job architecture into a skills architecture.
So I know we're talking about converting, say, job descriptions into capabilities, which is probably a current capability. What about the concept of future capability? Like, say, for example, leadership skills. And it doesn't mean for someone who's experienced, but even for people who are coming at an entry level, somebody who can blossom into a leader, somebody who can enable teams, who can be really engaged. So is there some way of also, measuring that and analyzing that, when we are looking at skills and looking at future capability of people who are in the system?
So we are doing this an interesting thing for right now. One of our customers, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So what we have done is for every skill in that taxonomy, they have some standard certification. So they wanted to put a certification. So we have helped them to put that. And they want to capture employee the aspirations. So my career path is saying there's a vertical career path, you go from here to here, but what is an aspiration, right? And maybe if you capture people's aspirations, right? I may get into this role 5 years down the line. But this is my aspiration, and what are my gaps towards that? I may learn on my own, but give an employee at least an option to capture the aspirations. The more aspirations you capture from the employee, people are going to select their choice of roles on their own, and that's the only way you can do it. Unless and until you make this democratized, it's very difficult, because the leadership, the courage, right? These are skills of a human being which no system can capture unless and until you ask the person to act on it. So if you have an ability to capture the aspirations, so what we have done with customer is, it's asking a person, what are the last 3 job roles you have worked in, either the same organization or the previous, and what are the next 3 roles you would like to work with, and you select, and you just keep this data, and then you start putting the models around it, and then you find out, okay, this person is, apart from the hard skills, maybe will evolve into this role tomorrow.